$126 million. Just let that sink in for 1 second. $126 million. That's the price of the latest mega mansion listing out in Beverly Hills, California. And if that number sounds familiar at all, it might be because $126 million was exactly what the one sold for last year after it was forced to sell through the auction house. This latest masterpiece in the hills is located at 9505 Gloaming Drive, just east of Franklin Canyon and north of Truesdale Estates. But there is a little bit of a catch with this one. The house isn't even built yet. Thankfully, this property does come with some pretty amazing renderings. So in today's episode, let's dive into what will maybe become one of the coolest houses ever built in Beverly Hills. Now, the specs on this property are pretty typical for your modern mansion in this area. It'll have over 30,000 square feet, including the guest house. They're calling for 8 bedrooms and 20 bathrooms. I'm trying to figure out who needs 20 bathrooms in their house. It features a 3,100 square foot car museum, aka a garage. It'll have an indoor theater and an outdoor theater. There will be 2 elevators, a home gym, a home hair salon, and a home yoga room. A bunch of water features both inside and out. 10 acres of land, which is really substantial for this neighborhood. And obviously the icing on the cake is that this lot is going to have panoramic views in basically every direction. Aaron Kirman has the listing on this one. He gets most of these mega mansion listings around town, and he actually was also the listing agent when the one was sold. Just scrolling through Aaron's website, you'll see that this is one of Aaron's highest priced listings at the moment. The only one priced higher is 10721 Stradea Court, which we talked about here on the channel in the past. They're asking $150 million for this house. Now, there's a couple places we can look at the listing and the photos together, so we'll do that here in a second. But really quick before we do, I just wanted to do a reminder to anybody who's new to the channel that I actually have a first-time homebuyer training that I released just a couple of weeks ago. If you're thinking about buying a house within the next year, this training could be a perfect fit for you. The link to more information about the training is down in my description, but basically what I do is I take my 15 years of experience as a mortgage banker and my 12 years of experience as a real estate developer, and I just package that all up into a 15-step training guide that walks you through the process of buying your first house. So yeah, if you're interested, check out that link down in my description. You'll find way more information there. Anyways, let's get back to the video and check out this house. Okay, so one thing I want to show you guys really quick first is there's actually 2 listings here, and it's not 100% clear as to why. I think maybe you need to buy both of these properties if you want to build this house. We've got the one we're talking about today for $126 million at 9505 Gloaming Drive. And then there's this other one for $40 million at 9501 Gloaming Drive. If we pull up that one on 9501 Gloaming Drive, you can see in the photos here, it's basically just highlighting this property as a lot, even though there are a couple of houses on this lot. And then in the description down here, it says that this property ranks as the most noteworthy in Beverly Hills, distinguished by its unparalleled cityscape and canyon views. And then it goes on to say that this expansive 10-acre promontory comprised of level terrain presents an ideal canvas for the creation of the ultimate trophy compound. You can see this one here is 7.71 acres. And then if we toggle over to 9505 Gloaming Drive, this is the one where all the renderings are at. And this property actually only has 2.1 acres on it. So I'm assuming that if you want to do this whole package and build this estate, you actually need to buy both deals. I'm actually going to flip over to Aaron Kirman's website for the renderings because they're showing up a little blurry on Zillow, but I gotta say, these guys did a killer job with the renderings of this property. This shot shows us the main house here, which I think is like 21,000 square feet over 3 levels. This over here on the left is a guest house, so a couple levels on the guest house. And then check it out, you've actually got this little staircase here that walks you up to a little seating area and a fire pit. I'm sure the views up there are insane. And speaking of views from this angle, it looks like the views from the guest house are probably even better than the main house because it kind of sits higher up on the lot. A lot going on from this perspective. This is the main house. I love the use of stucco, wood, and stone. Those all go together really well, especially with all this glass. And then check this out. So I think this is the garage, or the car museum is what they called it in the listing. So on the lower level, you've got a place to park your cars, which has a glass wall with a water feature that flows in front of it. Never seen that before, but that is awesome. And then above the garage, there's actually like a little hangout area or like a rooftop deck. Here's a closer up of the main house and just showing those different levels. It's kind of funny from this angle. It almost does look like the one a little bit. I'd be kind of curious to know if Paul McLean was the architect on this one. It didn't say in the description, but it sort of looks like his style. This angle shows us just how many different areas there are to hang out outside. We have a seating area here, one on this upper level here. We have another enclosed seating area by the pool here in this cabana. We've got the main hangout area by the pool over here where you've got the barbecue and the dining set. There's like a sunken fire pit area that's surrounded in water down here with a ton of grass, and then a bunch more grass up here. Just goes to show how flat this lot is, which is amazing. It makes to where you actually have a decent yard or a couple decent yards. And then here in the background is that long staircase that takes you up to the guest house. So if you've got any guests who are staying over there, it's gonna be a little bit of a hike to go visit them. Here's a little bit of a lower perspective of the main house. I think we've got the kitchen and living room here, and then immediately above it is probably the primary bedroom. This one shows us that detail I was talking about with the car museum and then the water feature that comes off of it. Another angle of the guest house, it looks like they've got their own little like badminton court or something, and then a bocce ball court over here on the left. Here's one of probably like 10 seating areas within the house. I love this coffered ceiling detail with that light underneath it. I love the wood, the light fixture, this stone fireplace. This is an awesome space. And then they round it out with a sneak peek of the main living space. So we've got living room, kitchen with a couple islands in the kitchen, and then obviously amazing views looking out to, what is that, maybe downtown LA? I'm not sure. So let's actually think about this for a second. Who exactly is going to be the person to come forward and buy here, and exactly what will it look like to buy this lot? Well, the listing description says that the property is RTI permit ready, which includes 3 structures totaling over 30,000 square feet. According to the Los Angeles Department of Building and Safety, if you're in RTI status, that means that your permit application is ready to be issued once the permit issuance fees are paid. So this tells us that the current owner has already gone through the long and grueling process of designing the house and then actually getting the house approved by the city to build. That makes this what they call a shovel-ready lot, meaning that the buyer will be able to technically buy this place, close escrow, pay the permit fee, and start construction. That RTI status makes this listing super attractive because it probably did take years to get this project approved. So as a buyer, you're saving a ton of time being able to go straight to the construction, assuming that you do like the plans that this current owner came up with. But the only downside is that to build a house this size in the hills, it's still gonna take several more years. If this were a couple years ago, I could totally see a developer coming in and scooping up this lot and then just building this mansion on spec. But with where the market and where interest rates are at right now, I don't know. I don't see that happening. I think this will probably end up selling to an end user. I noticed in the history that the last time this place traded was way back in 2006 when it sold for just over 8.8 million. And the property has actually been on and off the market for sale and for rent basically ever since. They've asked as much as $55 million for the house for sale and as much as $59,000 per month in rent. Hard telling why it hasn't sold yet, but something tells me between the awesome renderings that we looked at today and the RTI status that they have on the permit, they're probably gonna have a better shot at getting this trophy property sold now. I'll see you guys next time.